It's not late, so I'm not cheating. You know, you are here, I'm guessing, because you're looking for a hypnotherapy script to help your clients to stop smoking, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's cigars, whether it's marijuana, whether they're smoking hashish, or to help them to stop vaping or using e-cigarettes, or give up the old cigars, whatever it may be. So I've got some bad news for you. I am not going to give you yet another hypnotherapy script, even if it is to help your clients to stop smoking. And I'm guessing the reason why you're looking for a hypnotherapy script to help your clients to stop smoking or vaping is because right now you're feeling a little bit anxious, you're a little bit uncertain, and you're not quite sure what to do with a specific client or any client that comes to you that wants to give up the evil weed, as we call it. So even though I'm not going to give you a script, I'm going to go one step better than that. I'm going to give you a strategy so that you're able to help your clients to quit smoking, not by reading some magic words in a book or downloading some magic words from the internet in the form of a hypnosis script to stop smoking. Instead, if you've got a strategy, well then what's going to happen is you're going to ask the right questions. And as you listen to the answers, you'll discover that on your page, a script to help your clients to stop smoking is going to magically appear. And that script will be tailored and will be a perfect fit for the specific client that you're working with. And here's the thing. If I was to give you a hypnotherapy script to help your clients to stop smoking, what would that really say about me as a professional hypnotherapy trainer? Think about it for a minute. I would be inferring that all smokers are exactly the same. That if you read some magic words to them, that they're all going to stop smoking. And you know, nothing could be further from the truth. Each of us, we're all unique individuals with our own bad habits, with our own way of approaching the things that are difficult in life, and with our own ways of self-medicating. And for you to find a script online and to make the assumption that just reading it to your client is enough, well, that just wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be fair, and it would not be professional of me. So we're going to go one step better today. And I'm going to give you some key pointers to help you to ask the right questions so that you're able to design and develop your own hypnotherapy script for each unique client that comes your way. And although what we're looking at here today is smoking or vaping, it is, what I'm going to share with you, is equally applicable to so many other common client challenges. So you have a client showing up and they want to quit smoking, e-cigarettes, whatever, okay? First of all, and I learned this is one of the first things I learned a long time ago when I was serving as an apprentice in a well-known clinic in Hampstead at the time. And again, this was supported when I attended one of the National Guild of Hypnotists courses in the USA. And I'm talking about stuff that I learned way back in 1995. So I'm not going to blow you away with this, but it's extremely practical and highly effective. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to ask your client, before they show up for their hypnotherapy session with you, whether that's in person or online, you're going to get them to complete this exercise. It's really simple. You're going to ask them to take a blank sheet of paper, to draw a line down the center, and And on one side, get them to put a title, which is all the reasons why they smoke or vape, whatever, okay? And then on the other side of the line, you want them to put the title, all the benefits I'll gain by quitting, all right? And then you're going to tell your client to write down every single reason they can think of for why they are smoking or vaping, okay? Every reason, every single reason that they can think of why they are engaging in what you and I know is the craziest, most senseless habit ever, all right? But you're not going to say that, obviously. You're just going to ask them to write down all the reasons why they are smoking. And then on the other side, and this is really important, so make sure you communicate it to them properly. You'll ask them to write down all of the benefits that they stand to gain when they no longer smoke. And I want you to ask them to really, really consider every single benefit that they can think of. And you want the benefits, you want them to look at the benefits as they exist in all the domains of their life. So the financial benefits, the health benefits, the time-saving benefits, the relationship benefits, how it will improve their relationships with the people that they love, with the people that they work with, etc. How it's going to improve their life emotionally, because you know so many people who smoke feel guilt and humiliation and shame because perhaps they have children, and those children are feeling concerned or anxious that mommy or daddy is smoking. And of course at school they're learning that smoking kills. Every time they see a cigarette packet, as an example, they see horrible pictures of all sorts of smoking related illnesses. So, you know, the emotional benefits that they'll gain, it's very important that they make a note of those. And all of the benefits in between, the simple benefits of having a car and hair and clothes that smell nice, the benefits, you know, how they can use that time, the extra money, that extra sense of security, the health benefits, in order to improve other areas of their life. Get them to write down every single benefit and ask them to bring that list with them to their first session. Now here's the thing, when your client shows up for that first session of hypnotherapy to quit smoking with you, the list of benefits should be a lot longer than the reasons why they smoke. Because the thing about the human brain is that it loves the status quo, okay? It is a pattern making machine. So it likes to keep things the way they are, even if the benefits of changing outweigh the benefits of staying the way we are. And that's why most people need hypnotherapy to help them to quit smoking or vaping. All right. Now, if your client only has a tiny little list of benefits, straight away that's going to suggest to you that something's not quite right. It'll straight away point to the fact that there is a lack of commitment there, that they really haven't invested in the exercise, in doing this extremely simple exercise. And that might call into question whether they will be fully committed to following the hypnotic suggestions you'll give them once you have them in the hypnotic state. And also, if they haven't really considered the benefits, it means you're going to have to spend a lot more time teasing out those benefits. Because think of it like this. All the benefits they've written down, well, they've made your job super easy for you. Because when you have finished the full hypnotic session, when you've done your hypnotic induction, you've done your deepening technique, you've installed your anchor, whatever that may be, whether it's your simple anchor or something more complex than that, when you've done your big intervention, that big thing you're going to do to literally pull that bad habit out of their subconscious mind, when you've done that thing to reprogram their subconscious mind, okay, to remove the smoking habit, what are you going to replace it with? Well, you want to replace it with a set of what we call post-hypnotic suggestions. And if they've spent that time actually generating those benefits for themselves and written them down, hey presto, they've given you a list of really powerful post-hypnotic suggestions. So when you've done that big work, when you've reprogrammed their subconscious mind, it's really easy. At that moment, you can start giving them back the benefits as post-hypnotic suggestions. And because those suggestions have come from them, we're tapping into a process that we call transderivational searching. What you're doing is you're pattern matching with words, ideas and concepts that they have already generated themselves. So what you have in fact done now is you've created resistance-free hypnosis. Those suggestions are going to sink into the deepest part of their mind with no conscious resistance whatsoever, because they already brought those up themselves. So when you're saying from this moment on, you are now free to breathe in clean, fresh and healthy air. You are free to enjoy the wonderful company of your children. You're free to play football with your son, to enjoy the lovely experience of running through the field with him on those special afternoons after school. You can now luxuriate in the joy of being able to take your family to Disney World or whatever it is. They're all there. They've written all of these things. And with just a little creative imagination, you expand on those. And of course, their subconscious mind is going, yes, 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 yes. Because all these things already are so familiar to them that they go into the deepest recesses of their subconscious mind with absolutely no interference and with no restrictions at all. And how powerful is that? Just from asking your client to do one simple thing before they show up for the session. All right? Now, there's a huge problem with working with smokers and people who vape. And the problem with it, and maybe the reason why you've been looking for a hypnotherapy script, is because it leaves you with a feeling of unease and anxiety. Because in many ways, your whole reputation is on the line, isn't it, when a smoker shows up? Because this really is black and white therapy. Your clients are either going to quit or they're not, okay? And so there's a question then that you need to ask your clients as well, and that is, obviously, how many cigarettes do they smoke? Or how many tokes are they taking when they're using their e-cigarette? You need to find out if they're the kind of client that's going to do best by going cold turkey and just stopping instantly and automatically, or whether the cutting down method is going to be better for them. Now, of course, you can ask your client, which would you prefer? Would you like to just completely stop and go cold turkey, or would you prefer to gradually cut down? Now, most of your clients are going to be going, yeah, in their mind they're going to go, yeah, well, I'm going to be hypnotized and I want to go cold turkey, okay? And that's great. They either have the hypnotic personality that allows you to work with them that way, or they don't. And the only way that you can figure that out is by doing some testing and taking them through some suggestibility exercises to see how they respond to hypnotic suggestion, to see whether they will respond well to the authoritative commanding style or whether you need to use a more permissive Ericksonian style of hypnosis. You know, so there's a lot of things to consider. So you're going to have to kind of feel your way through this a little bit. There's some great benefits to actually using the cutting down method. And very often I will really suggest and use my position of power and authority with my client and tell them I would prefer to see you actually cut down and see how you go. And cutting down, you know, could be as simple as dropping by 50% today, stabilizing at that for a week, and then stopping completely. And there's a great benefit to doing that. And one of the reasons for that is that nicotine can play games with our brain when we totally stop it, especially if we are taking in a lot of nicotine on a daily basis. Now, if someone is just having 2 cigars a day, or they're smoking 10, 15 cigarettes a day, no problem. If they're skinning up a few joints, 3 or 4 joints a day, and having maybe 4 or 5 rollies on top of that, or 10 cigarettes on top of that, no problem. I'd have no problem with working with a client who wants to just totally stop smoking. But if they're using one of those e-cigarettes and there's a 600 pulls in it, and they're getting through one of those a day, that's a lot of nicotine. And when they go to quit, coming off the nicotine can play havoc with their brain. It can play havoc with their body. They can experience restlessness. They can experience hallucinations. They can begin to hear voices. They may feel they're going a little bit crazy. So very often it's better that they actually cut down rather than just totally stop. And if a client begins to another side effect of totally stopping nicotine is getting terrible headaches and also cravings, okay? So to minimize the kind of disruptions that stopping nicotine can cause, it's a really good idea to maybe get them to cut down by 50%, okay? Instead. Now, that said, if your client is more of a social smoker rather than addicted to nicotine, then the game changer to help your clients to stop smoking and to ensure that they don't damage your reputation, because you know what I said? They either stop or they don't, and you don't want them going out into the community and saying, oh, I went to see Susan Wallace, the hypnotherapist down the road to quit smoking, and their friends saying, how are you getting on? And they're going, well, it was a really interesting session actually. She did all of this stuff, but as you can see, I'm still smoking. You definitely don't want that to happen to you. So how can you make sure that they go and say, yes, it's the best thing I ever did, when they're out with their friends and they're socializing and somebody's got a nice big fat joint or a cigar or a cigarette, and they're saying, do you want some of this? And they're saying, no thanks. And that's it. Just no thanks. No, maybe I should, oh, I don't know, I'm trying to stop, blah, 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 all that stuff. They just go, no thanks. Imagine how great it is, you know, when their friends go, what's up with you? And they go, oh, I got hypnotized. I went to see Susan Wallace. The session was brilliant. And as I walked out the door, she said to me, do you want a joint? Do you want a cigar? Do you here? I've got an e-cigarette. Do you want to have a couple of tokes? And I went, no thanks. I feel amazing Okay, that's where you want to be, isn't it? You want to be that hypnotherapist that your clients are saying, he was amazing. It was the best thing I ever did. The session was a cracker. And they asked me, did I want one? And I said, no, thanks. And I don't want one. So that's where you want to be. Okay, so how do you get there? Because I'm one of these hypnotherapists. The way that I teach is I like to reverse engineer everything. So start with the end in mind, and you want your clients saying no thanks to the evil weed. All right, so how do you get there? Well, here's the secret. The way that you get there is you get them to do that exercise. Yeah, okay, we've done that. When they show up for your hypnotherapy session, you want them showing up in a specific way, okay? What you need to do is you need to get in touch with them about 48 hours before the session starts, okay? They've already booked in with you, maybe even 24 hours, it doesn't matter. But before the session starts, you want to pick up the phone. You're not going to do this by text. You can't, what's the word? Look, you're a professional hypnotherapist. You provide a professional service and you get paid big money when it comes to smokers to deliver a premium service. So you're not going to do this by text. You're not going to do it by email. You're going to pick up the phone. And what you're going to say to your client is, I'm really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow evening at whatever time for your session to quit smoking, right? But here's the thing. I want you to make sure that when you arrive for the session that you are craving whatever, cigarette, cigar, a joint, or a few tokes on your e-cigarette, okay? You're going to say that to your client. I want you to arrive and making sure that you are craving nicotine. All right? That's where you need to be. So now what you're doing is you are really stepping up here. You are stepping up. You're stepping out from behind your qualifications. You're stepping out from behind the hypnotherapy scripts and you're saying, bring it on, because I am ready for you, okay? I am 100% ready for you. And what you're going to do, okay, and then you're going to say, okay, I want you to make sure that you are craving nicotine, all right? Make sure you're craving nicotine, because the first thing I'm going to do with you is I'm going to show you how to manage those cravings. Because here's the thing, once you can manage a craving and once you understand the life cycle of a craving and how you can beat that craving, I promise you, it's going to be super easy for you to stop smoking, vaping, toking, whatever, okay? All right, it's going to be super easy because anytime you have a craving, you'll know exactly how to manage it. And if you can manage the cravings, well, look, so there's no reason for you to light up, is it? Okay? So that's what you're going to do is you're going to call your client, okay, when? 12 hours before. You need to make sure that they give themselves enough time to arrive with a craving. All right, so now you're going to extend that conversation a little bit and then you're going to say, so remind me, this is what you're saying to your client on the phone, remind me, how many cigarettes is it that you said you smoke? All right, so when do you need to stop smoking to make sure you're craving a cigarette when you arrive for your appointment? Okay, it could be an online appointment, doesn't matter, or it could be in person. That's irrelevant. Hypnotherapy is hypnotherapy, no matter how it's delivered, okay? All right, so your appointment with me is at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So when do you actually need to stop having nicotine? Right, okay. And will that make sure that you are definitely going to have a craving? Okay. Are you okay to do this for me? Okay, great. Now here's the thing I'm promising you. We're going to work with the craving straight away. It's only going to take us about 15 minutes. And I promise you, straight after that, you can take a break, you can go outside, and you can have a fag, okay? You can have a cigar, you know, have a few tokes, whatever you want, you can go and you can do that. Is that okay with you? All right. Now look at what you've done. You have just brought in massive commitment from your client. Your client now knows they are coming for a premium hypnotherapy session with someone who is at the top of their game, someone who is fearless and focused, and someone who's showing their expertise, who understands the one thing that is going to floor anyone who wants to quit nicotine, and that is the cravings. And the fact that you're showing up this way means one of two things. So what's going to happen? All right, your client is either going to come in like a bear with a sore head, desperate for a hit of nicotine, or they're going to come in with a cloud of smoke around them because they have been getting as many fags into them as they possibly can because they're terrified. They're grasping, holding desperately onto their habit. The fear is going to rise in them so strong because now this powerful hypnotherapist is going to take their beloved away from them. So, okay, now we are going really deep into the psychology of addiction here, all right? So that in itself is going to show you straight away the level of commitment that your client has to quit. So if your client is arriving like a bear, okay, and they are craving that cigarette, brilliant. You can then do your hypnotherapy to instantly teach them how to manage those cravings, okay? You can do that. It's only going to take you 10 or 15 minutes to do it. But the thing is, you now know that client is fully committed to being free of nicotine. But if you can smell the smoke on them, if you ask, maybe you can't because maybe they use e-cigarettes, but you know, you're a hypnotherapist, you know how to tell the difference between truth and a lie, okay? You should know how to tell the difference because the tells will be there, the signs and the signals that will alert you to the fact that this person isn't actually telling the truth. Okay, remind me to do another video on how to tell, how to get the client. It's a truth serum suggestion that you can use. I have no time to do that on this video. But anyway, if your client hasn't been able to show that level of commitment, what you have here is someone who's really addicted to their nicotine. It's not their fault, okay? You can't be dismissive and say, I'm sorry, I'm not working with you. You didn't do what I said. No, you've no commitment. We cannot do that. They are a victim of the habit that has grabbed them, that is literally choking the air from their lungs, that is literally got a stranglehold over their body and their psychology. So we have to be aware of that. But that will instantly tell you that you can't, it would be foolish to go and try and do cold turkey therapy with them, to get them to quit all at once, because it's just not going to work. And all that's going to happen is they're going to go out and they're going to smoke. And it's your reputation that's on the line. And they're going to feel like a failure. You're going to feel like a failure. And it's not good for either of you. So straight away, that's going to tell you that client, first thing you need to do with them is to increase that level of commitment. And then you still have to teach them how to manage a craving, because they really need to know how to be able to say no to certain cigarettes. So I'm using the word cigarettes, but obviously it could be cigars, it could be their joints, or it could be the amount of pulls they're having on their e-cigarettes, okay? So what you have to do then is sit with that client and tell them it's okay. It's perfectly okay. And thank you for telling me that you felt nervous or anxious or afraid. And explain to them that I understand that that's because in many ways nicotine is very addictive. So our first job today is going to be to help you, the client, to increase your level of commitment so that you can stop. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at your smoking habit and break it down over the course of your day, from the moment when you wake up until the last thing you do before you go asleep. We're going to look at all the times when you're taking a pull, when you're ingesting nicotine. And what we're going to do is we're going to start looking at those times when you really feel that you need a toke versus those times when it's just habit. And what we'll do is we look to eliminate as many as feels comfortable for you. So we're getting rid of all the superficial ones. And you can keep the ones then that you feel that you really need, you know. It could be the first one in the morning with that cup of coffee. It could be the one when you're stuck in traffic on the way to work. It could be the one that you have before you're going into a meeting that really helps you to get you feel gives you that sense of focus. It could be the ones that you share with your partner after sex. It could be the last one you have in the evening, whatever. You know, we could call those the ones that you're not ready to give up yet. But then we look at the ones that you know that you just don't really need. They're just habit. And so with a client like that, we now know what our starting point is. And we're able to say to our client, let's make a commitment, whatever feels right, to eliminate those. And then your hypnotherapy session will be around that. It will be around creating, using a metaphor or doing some intervention that eliminates the superficial cigarettes, and then that really draws your client's awareness into those cigarettes or those hits of nicotine that they feel right now are essential. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a link and tell your client that every time that you're taking a pull or a hit or a toke, whatever, and it's at a time that you feel would be really hard for you to stop, that every time you do that, it is highlighting to you that awareness that nicotine is not your friend. That this is in many ways what would the words be? This in many ways signifies that you are in a violent, unwanted relationship with something that is stopping you from being the best that you could be. Because, you know, just think of it for a moment like this. Although we believe that they help us to connect and to socialize with people who are other smokers, that maybe they help us relax and feel more confident, more focused perhaps, that buy us a little bit of time, you know, a little escape from the day-to-day routine of family, that create that sense of loving connection with our partner, etc. The fact of the matter is that these, we don't necessarily say this to our client, but these things have over 100 toxic and poisonous chemicals in them. And not for one moment does our body actually crave these. It simply has created this pattern, this understanding that it needs the nicotine. And the funny thing about nicotine is that after 48 hours, of being off nicotine, our body no longer craves it. The cravings that are left are all psychological. So in many ways, it's like being in a relationship that's gone really bad with a substance that is intent on destroying your client. Because clients tend to think that cigarettes or joints or e-cigarettes are their friends. But the truth is that no friend of yours would ever try and steal, put their hand in your pocket and rob you of your hard-earned money. No friend of yours would ever leave you feeling insecure or ashamed about your health. No friend of yours would ever leave you worried or insecure that you might end up dying from cancer or some awful smoking-related illness. No friend of yours would ever try and reduce your sexual prowess or potency, because cigarettes create in guys, don't they? All right. No cigarette, no friend of yours would ever try and literally strangle and remove the air from your lungs that would try and suffocate you. So cigarettes are not our friends. So what we want to do is we want to highlight to our client, by creating a hypnotic anchor, that whenever you do smoke or take nicotine in, that you are becoming highly aware of the fact that cigarettes are not your friends. Cigarettes make you feel insecure. Cigarettes leave you feeling worried and anxious about your health. Cigarettes are damaging your relationship with your children, with the people you love. Cigarettes leave you with a feeling a lack of confidence that somehow you need this in order to support your friends or to open conversation, that you need this for focus, when nothing could be further from the truth. So we're bringing that awareness in and creating that link, while at the same time removing those superficial cigarettes. And the aim is to get our client down to smoking or vaping or toking on 50% less than when they first walked in. And if you can do that in the first session, well, you're off to a really strong start. You're going to have a client who appreciates your candor and honesty, a client that walks out there with the skills to be able to manage those cravings. And believe me, if they can manage those cravings, you've done more than 50% of the work already. It buys you a little bit of time to ensure that they can stabilize at that 50% without any negative consequences of having that, cutting out nicotine straight away, stabilizing their body and their biology. And that means when they come in, then you can get some really good feedback and find out if they are ready to take the next step. And of course, you can say to them, if you are ready to completely stop smoking, well, you know what you need to do. Make sure you arrive craving cigarettes or whatever it is that they're taking in, okay? And that way, I'm going to make sure you can manage the cravings, because once I know and I witness for myself and you witness for yourself that you can manage the cravings, well, then your chances of success are so high, because when you leave, you've got choice. It'll be really easy for you to say no. So what I've done here is I've outlined just some of the strategies that are available to you to make sure that when you're working with clients who want to quit smoking or vaping, okay, that you're going to make sure that your success rate stays really, really high, that your reputation in your community is one as being a real a really amazing hypnotherapist at the top of your profession. But there's tons more strategies in here. And these strategies are some of what I call my failure-free model of hypnotherapy, because I want to make sure that every time you're working with a client, you're working from a place of ethics and understanding that there's no such thing as a magic script, but there is an amazing strategy to ensure your client gets what they want, and to ensure that you are playing at the highest possible professional level, that you're highly ethical, and that you're delivering a top-class service. And believe it or not, that's what your clients are willing to pay for. They're not looking for this hypnotherapist that's promising the one session. They're looking for someone who's really honest, that's going to make sure, that's going to take them on the journey they need in order to achieve success. That's the level that we're playing at here. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed these strategies to help your clients to stop smoking. There's tons more. You learn them all in the Triple Diploma course. This is one of our course books. There's tons in here. I don't believe in scripts, but I do have tons of sound bites. They're those little bits of script that you'll find invaluable, that you can tag on to your hypnotherapy sessions. But if you ask the right questions, well then your clients will give you the answers. They'll find the answers inside, and as all of those answers are shared with you, you can just make a note. You're not there writing like this, but you can just be, making notes while you're listening, looking. Okay, and then you'll have the words that are the perfect fit for your client in the palm of your hands. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.